Hello, can you hear me? Gosh, finally. I'm finally here. It's 7:30. We tried to make it for 7:15, but we were racing home. We just leapt out of the car and raced in. And there's only 2 of you here at the moment because nobody saw the banners or saw anything that said that we were going live. Right, let me go live on Instagram. Okay, here we go then. Right. Panic over. We made it. We made it. I've been in the hospital all afternoon with Tim because he's been having x-rays and a CT scan and all of that. So that is why we are so late. So welcome to day 44 of the Phoenix Way Mini Live Challenge. I'm Lindsay Setchell. Welcome back. Today we're going to be tackling a topic that sparks a great deal of debate, which is correcting misconceptions about DIY trimming. There's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to trimming your own horse's hooves. And there's a lot of different methods. You know, we've said this a million times. We haven't got a method. Got something in my eye. We haven't got a method. We're just following Mother Nature's constants. Okay. And horse owners, when they are struggling, one of the first things they'll do is they'll go to a Facebook group, one of the laminitis Facebook groups perhaps, or navicular, etc. Then they'll start asking for help, and then they'll be offered 101 different methods to follow, and sometimes us as well. And that poor horse owner has to work out what the right thing is. And many times they go down the wrong path several times before they actually find the right path, which is following Mother Nature's constants, right, of the horse. And it's really interesting because every other method doesn't talk about that. They talk about all the things that you can do to the hoof to stop all of these pathologies that are going on without actually listening to the intricacies of the actual true foot and staying true to that foot's balance. So people get lost. People then try and do a little bit of DIY trimming themselves, and DIY trimming is incredibly beneficial, but it has to be done right. It's also a skill that requires quite a lot of knowledge, quite a lot of practice, and quite a lot of responsibility. So let me know in the comments, have you ever considered trimming your own horses? And we've talked about this before. I know quite a lot of you already do. What was some of the misconceptions? If you're already trimming, what was some of the misconceptions you faced when you started out, when you wanted to start trimming? Or did you only just start trimming when you found the Phoenix Way? What happened? What got you to pick up some tools? All right, let's say hello to, there's loads of you turned up now. Hooray! Okay, Sunshine's here, top of the shop. It was just you and me for a moment. Jeanette Desar's here. Hi all, bonsoir from France. Vivian's here. Hello everyone from Germany. Erin's here from Ohio. Therese is here with a pink marigold hand from Sweden. Angela Garberg's here. Hello, hello. Tammy Keller's here from Germany. Jenny Ackerstrom's here, also from Sweden. Angie Medler's here from Virginia. Look at me, remembering where everybody comes from. Leyland's here from Sweden. Tara says, hey, beautiful people. Pia says, hello from beautiful moonlight. Oh, how lovely, how lovely, how lovely. Anita's, howdy, warriors. Ramona says, hello, everyone. Charlotte says, hello, Lindsay. Thank you so much for doing this after the day you've had. I hope that you have a plan for him now. No, we don't. We waited and waited and waited after the initial x-rays. We waited for the CT scan. He had that really late. We waited all afternoon, and they are going to talk about it, the surgeons, tomorrow to make a decision on Valentine's Day. What fun Valentine's Day. Melanie's here. Hello, Hoof Peeps, double live today. You've got me twice today on my own. I might bring somebody else in that's sat over there on the side. She doesn't know because she can't hear me. She's nodding away to music, who's just come home for the weekend. I might drag her into it. That might be some fun. Susan Scheide's here. Hello from Germany. Melanie says, I love being able to look at the feet and make tweaks if I have to. And not to mention, I never knew the anatomy like I do now. I'm hooked. It is odd, isn't it, how you get hooked? People often say to me, what do you think of human feet? I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with human feet. You must be joking. Sarah's here. Hello. Anne Chopra's here on Instagram. Hello. Snoopy Star's joined us again. Doing really well, you guys, on Instagram. Vi Dating's here. Snoopy Star says bonsoir and hello. Anne Chopra says IG starts before Facebook. Does it? What do you see me doing sort of this? Tonight, I haven't pressed mute by accident. I need to go back and somehow edit that, but you can't edit it once it's been alive. You have to make it into a video, but I'm sure we can do that anyway. All right, so let's get on with our topic. We're talking about DIY trimming, and it's an important topic to talk about because you will hear professionals constantly telling you that it's a really bad idea that owners learn to trim, and it simply isn't. It isn't, because even if you trim a little bit or a little bit more, you, on the way to learning how to trim correctly, and of course that's the biggie, on the way to learning how to trim correctly, you are, like Melanie said, learning about anatomy. You're learning about all the things that you really do need to know so that you can have those conversations with your hoof care professional. I want to address a few common myths about DIY trimming. These are the common misconceptions that people have about trimming their own horse's hooves. And we see these pop up frequently when we are advertising our workshops, because often when we advertise our workshops, our 3-day intensive workshops, people say, you can't learn to trim in 3 days. What I can tell you is at the end of 3 days, you will know more than a huge percentage of other professionals around the world when it comes to be barefoot and learning about the naturally balanced foot. So there are a lot of myths surrounding DIY trimming, and we're going to break them down. So number one, only professionals should trim hooves. Well, while obviously professional training is very valuable for the quantity of horses that you are then going to go out and see, because and other people's horses. You shouldn't really be trimming other people's horses unless you're a pro or training to become a pro. But horse owners can and they should learn how to manage their own horse's feet. It is, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't have a horse if you don't know how to manage your horse's feet. I'm not talking about whether you are able to trim or not, but you should know all of the elements of that trimming, whether you do it or not. Because if you get the right education, you get the right practice, you get the right mentorship. And of course, in the Phoenix group, in the Phoenix Way Path to Hoof Health, we cover all this sort of thing constantly, don't we? That means that you can perform very basic trims and maintenance work quite safely. Only yesterday, after the live, I was dealing with a lovely lady up in Canada who hasn't got the ability to have hoof care pros who understand this kind of rehab. So she was taking it on herself. And I do this on a weekly basis. I teach people, especially when they've hit a roadblock with their trims, when they're rehabbing, I teach them how to go beyond that roadblock and where to take the feet from then. And she had a great session, and I love it. I love working with dedicated owners who just listen carefully to the instructions that you're giving them. And I'm doing this over Zoom, and they perform perfectly. Of course, owners can do this. Perhaps another misconception is that people think that it only entails just filing the hoof down when you're doing it on your own. And maybe people who are going to do it on their own, DIY, think that that is all they need to do. But of course, it's about so much more than that. It's about balance. It's about function, isn't it? It's about those bars. It's about leaving those toes. It's about getting those heels down. It's about long-term soundness. What we don't want are these awful situations where these horses' feet are left imbalanced for trim after trim after trim after trim after trim, with P3 doing this the whole time, and those horses getting into dire straits. We don't want that. Another thing that we hear often said on our adverts for our workshops that DIY trimming, owners trimming themselves, are going to ruin their horses' feet. Don't let anybody touch your horse's feet. It has to be a trained farrier. Poppycock. That's not true at all. A trained farrier, a trained pro, they're going to be trained to go out and do lots of horses' feet. But a trained farrier, for instance, is not going to be trained in the natural foot. None of them are. And very few hoof care professionals, in fact, are. So the incredible truth is that poor trimming, what we see as poor trimming from all the owners that we teach, and we've taught hundreds of owners over the years, poor trimming comes more from the professional side than it does from the amateur side. That's the crazy side, crazy part of that. Because you guys, this is your horse. This means everything to you. You are going to dedicate all your efforts in making this right for your horse. And then some of you get the bug so much that you want to go out and do and become a pro. If you've got the right guidance, like I said, you've got good observation, you can listen, and you've got basic abilities to use tools, you can, with the right teaching, you can be guided. And therefore, DIY trimming by the owner can absolutely improve your horse's hoof health. Perhaps people think that another little myth is that you need really expensive equipment to trim properly. No. Good tools are very helpful. Of course they are. They're absolutely imperative to have good tools. But you can keep your hoof knife sharp. You can get a good mid-range hoof rasp, good mid-range nippers, and they're enough to get you started. And a lot of horse owners, once they go beyond the first, where they're starting to trim and they're just keeping on top of it and they're doing maintenance and they're doing it every few weeks, you don't really need your nippers so much. You tend to just use your rasp, and your knife is the most important thing. It's not so much about of course they have to be sharp, but it's not about them being high end. It's about knowing how to use them correctly. And high end tools, the more expensive the tool, the idea is the longer they last, of course. So if you look after them and you give them a good spray of something like WD-40 and wrap them in a towel and put them to one side until you need them again, they'll last you for a long time if you're only doing your own horses. So it's important that you know how to use the tools correctly. And another final misconception, I think, is that farriers or trimmers will always do a better job than the owner, like we were just pointing out there. That is absolutely not true, because a knowledgeable owner, like so many of you now, that trims regularly can often maintain a healthier hoof than a professional who visits once in a while, and oftentimes, and it happens, may let you down. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You'll never be let down, because you're only letting yourself down if you don't keep on top of your trims. You can do it as often as you like. It empowers you. You can choose a day that suits you, so you're not always stressed trying to fit in with the hoof care professional. Hoof care professionals make mistakes, and you know that. And what we're trying to do is raise the standards of hoof care around the world. And we're never going to do that unless owners do it. And you've heard me say it, you've heard Gary say it 100 times. Owners will change the world. Owners will change hoof care standards around the world, because you won't put up with sub-optimum hoof care anymore, and you will say no and ask them to trot on. So owners that understand the trimming properly and they can recognize between good and bad work is essential, because learning to trim isn't always about replacing your hoof care professional, is it? It's just more than anything about empowering owners to take that active role in hoof care. And you know me, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about that. So what are the benefits of learning to trim your own horse? Well, despite all the misconceptions, there are huge advantages to learning to trim. You can gain more control over your horse's hoof health. You don't have to rely on somebody else, their schedule. Like we said, you can do small touch-ups as needed if you need to do that. I don't want you to obsess, and I don't want you to be in there every 5 minutes, but you can do those things if need be. You can address issues before they become massive problems because they've been left, and you don't know what those problems are because your hoof care professional turned up and went, all's well, and left, and all isn't well. But you don't know that all isn't well because you trusted them to tell you. It's going to save you money. There's no doubt about that. Economically, it's going to save you money in the long run because farrier costs are just going to, trimmer costs, hoof care professional costs are just going to add up, aren't they? Again, I don't do any of these lives or guilt trip anybody or say that everybody has to learn to trim. That's not the case. You need to know the trim. You do. And by coming on our workshops, doing the 15-day and the 10-day challenge, you will learn that. And then you will know that if your professional is still coming in, perhaps they're coming in to check on you if it's one of our HMB pros. But more importantly, how about you checking up on the pro and what they're doing to your horse's feet? You become so much more knowledgeable. We know that if you're understanding the hoof function, like Melanie just then, she's becoming obsessed with it. You are going to be able to make better decisions, and you're going to be able to have those conversations with your professionals, with vets. You're not going to feel overwhelmed, and you're not going to feel like you've been put in the corner, put baby in the corner. You don't want to feel that that's going to happen because you can stand up for your horse. We call that advocating for your horse because you can. You're going to know more about diet. You're going to know more about movement, about management, all of these things that we cover in the 15-day challenge. You're going to learn how to spot those early warning signs of imbalances. So, like I've always said, this helps build a stronger relationship with your horse, doesn't it? We talk about regular handling, trimming, picking the horse's feet up. This creates trust. It creates cooperation. Because you know your horse and they know you, and they're going to be more comfortable really with you once they have trust and confidence in you, because you're used to being with them. And you'll always be prepared no matter what happens, because things happen. Horses go lame, horses get abscesses, and you will start to learn what is the likely cause of those issues. So you can at least understand, even if you can't do anything straight away, you can at least understand. So all in all, DIY trimming isn't always about replacing the professionals. It isn't. It's about being proactive. It's about being informed, and it's about your horse's hoof care, their whole body and their hoof care. And that has been our main thing that we teach and have been teaching for years now, 15 years and a little bit longer, where we've been teaching owners this kind of stuff for years and years and years. Diet, management, and the trim, the right trim, not a method, but Mother Nature's constants. And because we know that there are so many of you from all over the world that can't get onto our workshops, but those of you on the same landmass, you need to fly to us or drive long distances. Because not everybody can get to the workshops. That's why we created the 15 and 10-day challenge. And they are superb. I mean, I know I would say that, wouldn't I? Because I created them, but, well, me and the team. But they are really the springboard to going stratospheric, learning about horses' hooves. So it's awesome. That's what you should do. Should we have a look at what other people are saying? Oh, God, so many things now. La, 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 la. Connie's here. Hello, Connie. It was great to see you yesterday. Vivian says, well, to you. Sunshine says, I have spent many hours studying many books, DVD servers, clinics, Guild of Farriers, 4-day workshops with many different presenters. You teach so much more clearly. Oh, thank you. That's because I cut my teeth teaching sweaty, smelly teenagers science. If you can teach and engage sweaty, smelly teenagers that don't want to be taught, particularly, you can teach anybody. It's got to be interesting. It's got to be fun. I was told by my ex-HCP hoof care professional that my horse's breed, Henson, which is an unusual breed, I love it, didn't grow enough heels. So when I took over, I left them too long. Right. And now you know. It makes you feel a bit like, Sancho says, have no desire to trim anyone else's horses. Too old. But how empowering to do your own. Ulrika's here. Hello, Ulrika. Hello from Rome, Italy. Ooh, you switched country for a few days. Get you. Are you eating pasta tonight? Pasta and pizza? I hope so. Lovely. Love Italy. Jeanette Desar says, also read in very well-known US trimmer's book that you can leave the bars alone. Right. No. Pressure points and wrong and bar abscesses and wrong. And you can, and what's more, Jeanette, the thing is, before you all knew this stuff, before we started the Phoenix group, you weren't exposed to it. We've just gone like this, haven't we? We've gone, opened it up like that, so you can peek through and you can go, oh, that's bad out there. Now, some people might go, shut the doors, I don't want to know. But you lot go, ooh, I want to go in and have another big look. And then when you do, and we start showing you the proof, because what are you doing in the Phoenix group? You are effectively being exposed to the things that we see as pros on a grand scale. So that means that instead of just seeing your own horse's feet and listening to what the pro says, and instead of just seeing maybe your mate's horse's feet, you're seeing horses' feet from around the world, and you start to see patterns, don't you? You start to see the patterns, and then you start to see the bruising, you start to see the problem, you start to see the abscesses, you start to see the issues that you wouldn't see if you were only looking at your own horse's feet. And this is a big problem, that people, the owners that only are exposed to their horses or their friends' horses, maybe they're at a livery yard, so they see a few more, but that's it. They don't see all of the issues and the pathology that we do and that we are now exposing to you in the Phoenix group. Melanie says, from my prior farrier, I was told I would cripple my horses, and you can't know anything about trimming until you do 100 horses' feet. Joke's on them, because Honey and other horses are better now than ever before. Joke's on them. It's all about the teaching. It's all about the teaching. And the right trim, of course. Aaron's here from Ireland. Hi, everybody. Good to see you, Aaron. Jenny says, I Googled a lot last spring when I wanted to start to trim on my own. I stumbled across It Is Not Rocket Science videos, did the challenges, trimmed on my own since then. Oh, yeah. And you do a really good job. I got my eye on you, Jenny. My eye on you. You know that. I have my eye on you. George is here. Hi, everyone, says Georgie. It's good to see you. Celia's here. Hello. Lydia's here. Hi again, everyone. Heather's here. Hi, all. Running late tonight. I see. I am. And you are. We're both. Louise is here. Hello, everyone. Sandra Khan's here. Hello, everyone from Costa Rica. Oh, how lovely. Costa Rica. Celia says, and as you say, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. I know. I've ruined your lives. Ruined your lives forever. That's it. Whenever you see a horse now, you go straight down to the feet. Anne says, yes, seeing the common problems is excellent. It is, because you weren't exposed to it. And also, of course, you can get into any one of the other Facebook groups and you will be exposed to a modicum of what we see in the Phoenix group. But because the information is so scattergun approach, that the advice that's given, and it's advice that's picked by people, cherry picked from here, there, and flipping everywhere, you don't get that. You get solid, decent information that is following the guidelines of the natural foot, and then you start to see, because all of that rubbish has gone, that noise, it's not there anymore to just confuse you. Christy Ruggles is here. Hello. Maggie Thrussell's here. Hello. Nikki Shaw's here. Hello. What have we got going on Instagram? Beggish BWWG joined. I don't know. Kathy Yorkshirelas is here. Pony Gideons is here. Daniel Lucas is here. Daniel Lucas says he's from Spain. Hello. Or she is from Spain. I don't know. Okay, let's carry on. So What are you going to need before you start? Well, you're going to need education. You're going to need education. If you want to trim your own horse, you have to start with the right foundation. And that's what the 15 and the 10-day challenges do. That's what the workshops do. It is a foundation. And anybody that comes on to do our pro course or wants to train to become a pro, they have to do the foundation first. We are the only hoof care school, as far as I know, in the world that makes you do a foundation course before you are allowed into the pro school. That makes sense, right? If you're going to go off and you're going to do in the UK A-levels, you have to do your GCSEs before you do your A-levels, because you have to learn the basics first. You can't go straight in on pro level. If you're going to hit the ground running, you need to know the foundation. We cover some of the foundation when we begin in module 1, but if you haven't, you hit the ground running, you start trimming. If you don't have that foundation, if we haven't seen you trim, then it's going to be harder for you. So think on that. The 10 and 15-day challenges and the workshops are that good. They are the foundation for our pro course. So that's where you're learning first. You're learning about hoof anatomy. We talk to you about function. We talk to you about diet, about management, about balance, and how a balanced foot should look, and how difficult it is, in fact, to get balance. And you should never beat yourself up about that. Just keep trying to learn, because it is the one thing above all else that has caused more problems in the equine hoof care world than anything else, which is balance, natural balance, and people not being able to naturally balance because they manipulate the foot. And that has caused all those problems. P3 rotation, navicular, all of those issues, side bone, you've got it. It's all caused by getting the balance wrong. You need to study all that function and anatomy. You need to understand all of that. You need to be able to watch and learn from us while you do that, because you come on these lives and you listen to what we're saying and we talk about case studies, and you need to know about all of that. You don't want to overdo it. You want to start small. You want to start with a lot of help and doing small things first, and not trimming, going out and go, today, roll up your sleeves. Today, I'm going to trim all 4 of my horses. And you get 1 foot done and you're in tears sat on the floor because that was hard. Don't do that. Don't do that. Set yourself up for success, please. That's important. Track the hoof changes. You know that we've talked about that. Photos and notes. Document that hoof growth. Respect your horse's ability to stand and get that training going. When shouldn't you trim? When not to trim for yourself, or go it alone, shall we say? This is probably better. Don't go it alone. And you know what I'm going to say here. Even if you've got confidence in your own trimming skills, you should never, ever, ever go it alone if you've got things like severe hoof pathology, if you've got P3 rotation, if you've got navicular, if you've got big things like that, and white line disease. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying you can't do it alone, or you shouldn't do it alone. And we do see people coming into the Phoenix group and they say, how is this? What does it look like? And they're not there. They don't understand. They've not quite got it. And we can't give those people the support they need. We can give them support on the page, but they'll often say, I can't afford to do the challenges, so I haven't done those, but I wouldn't want to get cracking. And I get that. I totally do, which is why we split the challenges up so that you don't have to pay for it all at once, all the workshops. As if you get it early, you can do the deposits. But we try and help you as best we can. Once you've done that training, that foundation training with us, then we're more than happy to give you as much support as you need. We may not be fast at getting back to you all the time, but we'll give you support. We could give you more consultations at a reduced rate. Those things happen. You can join the challenge club, for instance. So if you're unsure how to balance your horse's hoof, don't guess. Whatever you do, don't guess. That's why we go through it on the 10-day challenge. If your horse is very sore or it's reactive, moving on and continuing may be good, but also it could be bad. You make it worse. I don't want to scare you off, because with our help, you're not going to get, you're going to be able to make it better. If you need when we're talking about P3 rotation, you need realignment, you need corrective trimming. And that's what we mean by corrective trimming. We're not hacking away at the foot. We have to correct the mistakes that were made by leaving the heels too high. Then you have to speak to professionals to do that. Don't go it alone. It's important you don't. Okay, so let's do a final bit of shouting out. Alex Cameron's here from New Zealand. Gail says hi. Patty says hi there from Uruguay. Please, I made some questions in the group about Goliath. I'm very enthusiastic about all you teach, Lindsay. I know you are, Patty. It's great to have you with us. You're a great Phoenix warrior. You help so much, and mostly horses in the world. Thanks to all of you. You are welcome. And I will go in, and I promise you I will have a look at that at some point in the next 24 hours. I'll get in and have a look at Goliath. So what are the takeaways on this today? What can we say? Well, DIY trimming is incredibly valuable. It's a really valuable skill, but it does require you to get the right education, patience, be good to yourself. You really do need to be good to yourself. It does take that patience. Don't hurt yourself too, because we can help you learn about techniques. So you can do it. You don't always have to do it, but you should learn about it, even if you're not going to do it. Did I make sense then? Anyway, today's mini challenge for you. The next time you pick up your horse's hooves, observe their body language from what we were talking about yesterday, because we're moving on from yesterday, which was talking about handling. Observe their body language. Did they shift weight? Are they flinching? Do they try and move away from you? Do they seem relaxed? Why don't you video them? Or why don't you get somebody to video you if you're trimming or doing a bit of trimming? Get somebody to video you and watch yourself back. Could you have made yourself that horse's, put your position a bit better to make the horse more comfortable? It's videoing yourself and watching yourself is really valuable. Okay, that's it. We're done. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to be doing another live in an hour where we're just going to chill out and talk about, I don't know what. It's not as formal as these lives. I hope it helped. Please like, please share, please follow, please subscribe. And remember, the Phoenix Way is about listening to your horse. It's about rising together. And if we tune into our horse's signals, we can provide the best care possible. So until next time, until tomorrow for this live, I'll see you then. Or to the rest of you, I'll see you later on the Hours Live this evening. Okay, take it easy. Bye-bye. Bye.